Good Saturday morning, everybody. Thanks for tuning in to the weekend edition here at Gulf Coast Weather Solutions. We don't have much going on in our neck of the woods just yet. We do see some showers and some thunderstorms up there towards the Crockett region. We'll zoom out here in a second. That is that weak frontal boundary that's now in East Texas. But you see here in our neck of the woods, it is awfully quiet. But when we zoom out, we can see that that weak front has already entered parts of Texas, really the northern half in East Texas. But there's that line of broken showers, some thunderstorms, really from parts of the East Texas region getting into northern Louisiana. We'll continue to keep tracking it throughout the morning and throughout the day today. But again, coverage today not too high. North of the I-10 corridor, around 30% coverage, and then further south, 10 to 20% coverage. We still have some dry air in the mid to upper levels. This is one of the big reasons this isn't a big rainmaker, a high coverage event for us. This weak front's just going to give us the potential for some isolated showers and maybe an isolated storm. We'll continue to keep watching it, but we're very kind of capped right now. We have this warm air right here at the surface, so a lot of this marine layer is kind of keeping us capped really kind of throughout the day. But again, we'll continue to keep watching it. Thanks to Silsby Ford, we can see that it is a warm and a muggy start this morning, but hey, it's August 1st, and this is what we see this time of year. Upper 70s to low to mid 80s already at 7:10 this morning, so we've got that warm start. Hard to believe it's already August 1st. School's starting up again. It's already the new school year. It's just hard to believe. But later today, we're going to continue warming up, getting into the low to mid 90s in several areas, getting into the upper 90s with the heat index even hotter than that. Humidity is definitely here, but we do have a chance for some showers around the lunchtime hour and then this afternoon, but around 4 to 8 p.m. is when we can see this get up to 10 to possibly 30% coverage, but that's not in our construction forecast. So today is mostly going to be hot, and then we'll watch the chance for a passing shower, but coverage does pick up a little bit better late this afternoon into the evening hours, and we'll continue to keep watching that. One thing we're not watching right now is the tropics. It is pretty quiet in the Gulf and especially into the Caribbean, but what we will watch is, been talking about it for at least a week now. We always keep an eye on these frontal boundaries. Anytime they get into the Gulf or just offshore on the East Coast, National Hurricane Center isn't really keeping tags or tracking anything. But some model data is wanting to show maybe something spins up. Maybe this just gives a lot of moisture in the east, the Carolinas, East Coast. So we'll continue watching, see if anything develops. None of this is going to be an issue for us. But right now, tropics looks pretty quiet the next 5 to 7 days. We just will continue to keep monitoring this region over here. But even then, this doesn't look to be any issue at all. This weekend, we've got this front moving in later on today, this evening. You see that moisture pushing in. So the moisture, heat of the day, we possibly can get up to 20 to really 30% coverage north of the I-10. I-10 down towards the coast, 10 to 20% coverage. But notice on Sunday, some dry air is pushing in. So it's not going to change the temperatures. We're still going to be into the 90s, mid 90s, some areas getting into the upper 90s. But Sunday evening, a little bit of a breeze in this dry air. It kicks out that humidity. It won't feel too bad Sunday evening. But notice, as we get into Monday, Tuesday, you see it's kind of somewhat of the battle of how much moisture do we have in the dry air. So realistic, what we're seeing is Monday and Tuesday, we still have the potential for at least 10% coverage. And then by the time we get to the midweek, you see that moisture content's kind of building in, especially over there towards eastern Louisiana. So we could see that moisture content and rain chances start increasing thanks to Switch Electric. We kind of put that rainfall outlook there in motion. Realistically, the next 5 to 7 days, with tomorrow being our driest day on Sunday. Realistically, every day other than Sunday, we're seeing that 10 to 20% coverage. And just north of the I-10 corridor, we could see that 30% coverage this afternoon, just showing that we're continuing our summer pattern. Really kind of just, it's hot, mostly somewhat dry, but we do have that 10 to possibly 20% coverage realistically the next 5 to 7 days. And a little bit better coverage this afternoon for the areas north of the I-10 corridor. There's that weak front moving in. Could see some isolated showers, maybe an isolated storm for areas like Woodlands, Livingston, Conroe, maybe over here towards Jasper. So the potential definitely is there. 30% coverage for these regions. And as the front continues getting closer towards areas like Houston, Beaumont, Lake Charles, and even down towards the coast, a lot of this could be kind of capped from our marine layer. Just warm air right above the surface. So by this evening into tonight, as that front approaches, I just don't think we're going to get too active. In fact, the closer it gets, it looks like it's going to get more active offshore than it does, for Beaumont and Port Arthur. But still, we'll keep the 10 to 20% coverage for the areas like Houston, Beaumont to Lake Charles down towards the coast as this front approaches. But Really, the biggest story is it's still pretty much hot. This afternoon, middle to upper 90s. In fact, it's showing 94 for Beaumont. I don't believe that. I tried changing this data, but a lot of this, you see these 94, 92s. I think we're going to be more into the middle 90s to close to upper 90s. But pretty much you do have a potential for some showers north of the I-10 corridor, maybe a lonely storm, 30% coverage. And then southwest Louisiana from the I-10 down towards the coast, we're looking at pretty much 20% coverage. Thanks again to our sponsor of Silsby Ford showing us it's going to be a hot Saturday. And then overnight tonight, you can see that, drier air getting in. So St. Augustine and Hemphill will be into the low 70s. And then the rest of us, we're going to be warm and muggy like we should see for August 1st. Pretty much the middle to upper 70s with several of us into the low to mid 80s. And then here's our 5 to 7 day forecast for Southeast Texas. Pretty much we're staying into the middle to upper 90s. Did I just say that it was going to be before this? Did I say it was going to be in the middle to upper 80s? That was crazy. I need some more coffee. It's going to be hot, not in the 80s. But here's our 7-day forecast for Southeast Texas. We're going to pretty much stay into the middle to upper 90s. Realistically, tomorrow on Sunday, we might see that humidity kick out for a little bit, but just showing that we've got the chance for some showers and some isolated storms or in the forecast pretty much off and on the next 5 to 7 days, but nothing too heavy and nothing too crazy. We're just in our August summer pattern pretty much. Same thing for Southwest Louisiana. We've got this front approaching, gives us at least possibly 10 to 20% coverage, mainly this late afternoon into the evening. Some slightly drier air moves in on Sunday, and then we just have some small daily rain chances as we get into the upcoming week. Not much really going on in the weather world right now, especially in our neck of the woods. We got this weak front, but realistically, the temperatures are the main story. It's hot. So if you're working outside, you are outside today, sunscreen, water, Gatorade, all of that, make sure you stay hydrated and take some breaks. It's still going to be a hot day. So y'all have a wonderful Saturday. Thanks again for tuning in, especially everybody that tunes in with us every single morning. Have a great Saturday. Have a great weekend. We'll still have more posts throughout the day. We'll continue to track these storms. Maybe the coverage picks up a little bit more, but we'll keep tracking. But if you have not yet, please go download this free Gulf Coast Weather Solutions app. It keeps you guys updated 24/7 no matter what's going on. So have a wonderful weekend. Thanks again for tuning in, and see y'all again video-wise on the Monday morning show. So y'all have a good one.
Gulf Coast Weather Solutions is sponsored by.
We don't know what the weather is going to be like around here. I do get really anxious during storms.
That's why they chose HailGuard. When performance leads, confidence follows. Backed by the first and only asphalt shingle system with a hail warranty.
That just gives us more peace of mind.
This is the only asphalt product on the market that has the manufacturer warranty targeting the hail damage, and it gives me a lot of confidence as a contractor.
Engineered for enhanced impact performance. Built to protect homes and reputations. HailGuard shingles. Built for hail.